Alright, hey everyone, it's Derek here with another video, and today we're on Full Self-Driving 12.3.4 and want to do a test. It's not my typical test that I do, but we're heading to work and we want to test this on many different roads and surfaces and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to hit it in this parking lot at the UPS or Postal Service location and just see how it does even in the parking lot. So with the new version 12, there are obviously really good things that are going on. I think I see a lot of inconsistency, and this has always been the case. It's not really just this, but I think there's a lot of habits that I would never run into, but obviously we're doing this on roads that essentially I know and have been doing this for years. This computer does not know this and is not doing this every single day. It knows a subset of rules and how to respond in certain situations, but doesn't have my knowledge of certain things, and also can't really see into other cars and see how certain things happen with other cars to mean certain things. So computer's still learning. It's miles better than version 11, but we'll see how it handles all of these different scenarios here. I have my new camera, the Insta360 X4, so you can see in a 360 degree around us here. So hopefully you can see all of the things and interactions that happen throughout the ride. And interesting, it's going this way. So it'll hit one light instead of 1, 2, 3, instead of an additional 3 lights. So the navigation on the Tesla locally is interesting. It's supposed to take into consideration traffic conditions, all the different things like that. Right turn is good, and this left merge is good. All of this said, it's very interesting to see how it handles certain things in terms of just navigation. Over the last couple of days that I've been testing this, it has made some mistakes in the way that you would want. Like, it hasn't been following its own navigation, which is quite strange to me. The other complaint that I've had is that I have a max set to 38, but based on the computer, it determines what speed is appropriate. So even if you set an offset, it may or may not go that fast. And it's frustrating because sometimes it's going like pretty far below the speed limit. And it's very frustrating when that happens because you're just wanting to go the speed limit at the very least. And typically in the US, around here in Illinois, and I think this is everywhere in the US, you at least go 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. So, okay, it needs to get into the right lane here. So that was a little bit late. It needs to get into here quicker. If there is quite a bit of traffic, then you'll run into the issue where you'll want to make that turn, but you won't have that because the line will be further back up. And it's not common courtesy. Like, if you know where you're going, like this car does, you should premeditate that and make sure you get into the middle lane if you know you're going straight. Make a right turn signal? No? Okay. No right turn signal there. Sometimes I've seen when it merges into a lane, it turns on the signal. Seems to be not consistent as V12 is and full self-driving is. I mean, technically you could pass in this lane. I don't know in which cases it would actually do that, or if it would actually do something like that. We have the speed limit set max to 38. It's currently going 37, and it's made it to 38. And then it's slowed down a little bit for the crosswalk. There's nobody there, so, I mean, I don't particularly think you should treat those like train tracks in that you sort of pause when you see the crosswalk. If you don't see anybody there, you should just go right through it. I don't particularly understand why it's sort of pausing there. You can see it there now, and then you could see it just had a pretty big acceleration there. It's been inconsistent with how it handles certain speeds. So right now we're going 41, 42, and the max is set for 45, but it's not going to 45. And I'm not sure if it sees the car up ahead of us and says, well, that car is not going 45, so there's no point of us catching it and just going the same speed. I would love for Tesla to share this type of information and how the logic is, but I don't like the unsteadiness of let's go a little bit faster, let's go a little bit slower. Like, more of a constant speed makes sense. The problem that I've seen is just that it's braked and it's made my head jerk forward, and I'm not particularly prone to motion sickness, but when using this, I felt it more, or at least coming on, than I have really in any other versions. And there's a pretty big break there, and it's like adjusting the regen, as you can see here, like very oddly and not very smoothly. So it's needs to figure out that portion, like I've said in really any of the other ones. The acceleration to get up to speed seems to be a lot better in this version, but it also just throws you back into your seat, which is kind of funny. And I don't particularly understand what the logic is around that. You have a G meter, just say that your constraints are within this, and you can make an acceleration or a deceleration within this G rating. But if there's an emergency stop, or if you have to jolt to, if you're in assertive, let's say, and you need to hurry up and make that right turn before that car comes, then yeah, that makes a bit more sense. Or let's say you're in heavy traffic and you've been sitting there for like 3 minutes or something like that. Maybe that's a reason why you would end up doing that. I'm not particularly sure, but yeah, it would be good to understand that. I'm just gonna try to get some flow here because I think the camera's gonna eventually overheat if we don't give it any air passing it. We'll give it some air. Okay. Okay, speed changed to 40, so now we're at 47. Also, that's something that I've seen as well, is that the speed limit signs, like when it there's a lot of roads that are 60, 80, 94, so on and so forth in Illinois, and it's changed the speed limit based on it seeing 60. So that's why I've seen that in some cases where the speed limit just suddenly jumps up to 60 miles an hour, and it sees a sign, and it's a road sign, not a speed limit sign, and it's like, oh, it says 60, but And this one you can see on the right, speed limit 40, right? So the text that you see that's large is 40. So it seems to be reading very large text on road signs and saying, oh, the speed limit is 40, not actually, like right up here, we have a road that's 22. I want to see if it changes to 22. See, yeah, it changed to 25. And the speed limit is not 25 here. It's 40. And there's a sign that says 22. So I'm not sure if it's reading 22 and saying like, there's no speed limit, that's 22. I'm curious to see if there's like I gotta move up here on this right turn. There are no cars coming, so it should be able to go. Right turn on red. Good. That was good. So again, another sign that says 22. So we're still at 25, and then it sees the speed limit that's 45, and then it goes. So that's, with this new version, it seems to be taking in those signs that are route signs and interpreting them as speed limit signs. So that's probably the major gripe with version 12 currently. All right, and then here with this, I set the max to 55. It's currently going 51, and it's not going any faster, which is strange. But so far, so good. I mean, it's handled it. I've literally not disengaged it once, and my hands have been essentially off the steering wheel. So, and again, don't recommend doing this. I have my foot like ready by the brake in case I see it just jerk around or do something weird. And merging into lanes to make left or right turns, like right now it's just inching up towards the car in front of me, and I don't particularly like that behavior as well. I would wish that when they do this, it scoots to that as soon as possible, because like right here, it would have been possible for me not to make that light, and that's frustrating to a lot of people that are driving. It makes them like a couple minutes late or what have you. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal, but you know, a human is going to get pissed off at that. So if you want mass adoption of this, you certainly got to make it more like that. But again, I understand if the NHTSA or NHTSA has been watching this more more closely as they get closer to, and currently they're rolling it out as a test for a lot of people. So again, right here, I set a max for 55, it's going 51. I have plenty of room up ahead of me, but it's not wanting to go that speed. Now going 49. Gonna put my head against the headrest because I don't know when it's actually gonna go. Here's a sign for 83 and 53. It's going really slow around here. It needs to get to the light, but we got a green light, so it's okay to go. It's slowed down to stop, but it needs to just go. Then we have a left turn signal to merge. Sounds good. Other than that right-hand turn where it stops and we had that green light, I think all of that was pretty good. And it's not a great spot to cross the road. So yeah, it is reading that. So you could see it just changed to 53 miles an hour or 55 miles an hour when it saw that 53 sign. So it's definitely reading those signs and changing the speed. There's a speed limit sign that says 40. Maybe it's also color coding it and saying it has to be a white sign. Okay, I don't know what that was about. Another 53 sign, so let's see if it changes. Yep, it changed. So clearly it's seeing that and changing the speed limit. But it's also rounding up to every 5 because there are no signs that say 53 miles an hour is the speed limit. It says 55 or 50 or what have you. It should know just based off of that it should not change the speed limit, but and then it just randomly changed it to 45. There is no speed limit sign. Now we see 40. Keep it up here. Alright, we need to be in the right lane. Let's not go in the middle. It's lollygagging and sort of staying in the middle of the road, which is not good. Alright, we're gonna get a green light, make a right turn here. Okay. Good right turn. No complaints there. Pretty hard acceleration coming out of here. Let's see if we make a choice to pass this car or not. Nope. Just gonna chill behind them. big regen there. All right, as we're only about a quarter mile out, let me give you my final thoughts on this. So obviously some great improvements in terms of, yeah, that's also not good. It's not raining, so I'm going to turn off that. It has allowed you to change auto wipers to turn off, and then also auto brights to turn off, which is hilarious because you would assume that if full self-driving was good enough, that the wipers would be good enough, but that's actually not the case. But regardless, I think one of the things to note here is that there are certainly a lot of improvements. They're much closer than I thought it would be in terms of just overall good experience driving, because I've seen a lot of bad driving. It would be interesting to see what happens under South Wacker in Chicago, because we've had that before and it's just gone crazy and wasn't able to do anything, and full self-driving did not work in that case. This guy's asking for a bruising. But yeah, it's become a lot better, and I'd say they got to work on the comfort, like this braking here, the quickness that it's doing around this corner here, more smooth inputs, and instead of just abrupt things. But I got here 11 miles. It's gonna go without any disengagements, and even on these local roads where the signs, or at least, well, the lane lines are pretty decent here, but yeah, it's handling this really well and has handled these even without like the lane lines in them, so in neighborhood roads. So definitely a huge improvement. And why they were saying that, okay, it's good for, testing beta wise for like the rest of the world to do, or people that have full self-driving capable vehicles. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It seems like they're in the crapper right now in terms of the Cybertruck and, a lot of bad publicity and stuff like that. But yeah, the full self-driving has been doing really good in terms of improvements. I'm guessing that we'll see quite a bit of updates in terms of like maybe every 2 weeks, maybe. I'm not entirely sure what that schedule is going to look like, but it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. And also when the Tesla Cybertruck is gonna get full self-driving, because currently that is not on. But let's close that one out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.